to Sketch Cards Saturday night. And tonight we are going to do some Star Wars sketches, specifically the Bad Batch, which was a pretty cool show that I just recently became aware of. I had heard about it, just never watched it. And now that I have, I was like, wow, this is really cool. This is a good show. So I've got a few sketched out. I've got Hunter, Crosshair, Echo, Tech, Omega, Wrecker, V and Sid. So just decided to have a little fun. I like to do a little underdrawing first. I have never drawn these characters before, so I didn't want to waste a whole lot of time trying to figure them out. So I figured let me go ahead and at least figure out what these guys look like before I get started. So I have done that. Now that I know what they look like, I can do some sketches and we'll take it from there. I'm going to start with Crosshair because he's actually kind of one of my favorites so far. I will have to use some reference because, again, I've never drawn him before. So I will be using a little bit of reference, some pictures from the TV show, but I will be drawing him a little bit more in my style. But I do have some underdrawings under there to kind of give me the basic structure and shape of what I want. And I'm also going to color them. So we'll see how that goes. First thing I'm going to do is lighten this up a little bit because I don't want a lot of pencil marks on there. Am I caught up with the season? I think I'm caught up with the show now. A lot of it I didn't expect, to be honest, because when I first started watching the Clone Wars, I was like, it's okay. And so when somebody was like, well, check out Bad Batch, I was like, as I drop my phone here, I was like, we'll see. And they were like, no, it's more your style. Some of my friends were like, no, it's more your style. And maybe I just didn't give Clone Wars a fair shake. But I do definitely like Bad Batch a whole lot better than I was liking Clone Wars. And I have caught up with it. And we'll take it from there. I'm going to do pen and ink and then alcohol marker for color. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate it. I've got the undersketch done, so I'm going to go right into inks. Actually, I wanted to lighten this up just a little bit more even. And these I'm not trying to mimic the style of the TV show, but I want to kind of keep it true to the form. And I've got the camera right in my face. Let me adjust that there. Hopefully everybody can see. There we go. Hopefully that's good. Let me fix that there. There we go. So welcome everybody. This is number 1, Crosshair from the Bad Batch. Hope everybody's doing good. Ready for a happy Easter. I am a Star Wars fan. I have not seen all of the breakout shows like Bad Batch and Clone Wars, and I've seen a lot of them. I haven't seen them all. I did watch Bad Batch, which is what inspired me to actually draw the characters. But I can't say I've seen all of the breakout animations or even all of the breakouts, period. I guess one of the things about Bad Batch I really don't know why I liked it, to be honest. It just struck me as a really cool show. Uh, Maybe the whole Bad Batch philosophy, that there could be a Bad Batch, uh, is what I like the most about it. But I definitely got hooked. The first show was okay, and I was digging it, but I would definitely say by the time I got into the third show, episode one, um, I was a fan. I was a fan by the end. I was like, oh man. And then I binged it, and now I'm caught up to it. And part of me kind of wishes I didn't find it until later, because I'm not a big fan all the time of waiting for a new episode. I like to binge it and be done with it until they're ready for me to watch it again. I'm more of a movie buff than a TV show buff. And with the movies, you get the whole thing right away. And I like that. You go to the movies, you watch the movie, you got the whole story, and everything's cool. And I dig that. With TV shows, it's tune in next week and then tune in next week. Although I will say in the modern age, things are a little bit better, because back in the day, if you didn't catch it, that was it. And then, once VCRs came out, you could record it. But even then, if you missed the recording, that was it. Uh, and if you didn't have a VCR, that was it. I mean, there was just so many different reasons that you could just be like, ah. Part of me wanted to just go right into markers on these, uh, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the line work. I'm going to do it comic style with line work and marker. But I definitely could have just gone right into marker and done a fully painted card. I think that would have been cool. It may have taken a little bit longer, but it would have been a lot nicer. I've only done a few fully painted sketch cards so far. I think the last one was Red Sonja. I did a fully painted, and that's fully painted, meaning no ink lines, just straight into color, and they look really sharp. I mean, they that's really sharp. They just take a little bit more time, a little more patience. Here, once I get the line work in, then I can just go in with the markers and have a good old time. I'm not sure why I gravitate to it. I just really think it's a very good show. Really do. But I kind of like, and it's not the animation. The animation isn't what got me on this one. Arcane show, the animation on that was just, and that's what got me at first, because it wasn't the League of Legends story. But because the animation grabbed me, I watched it, and then the story wound up being really good. With Bad Batch, the animation didn't grab me, but the story did. And I was like, wow, this is just good. It's a good story. I am pleasantly surprised with what they're doing. In the background, I have Return of the Jedi playing, which I would love to be able to play out loud, but then YouTube says I violate copyright laws, and so they take my video and put it in the can, and I need to have the videos available, so that doesn't help me out. So without any background music or TV show, I just ramble. All right, that's pretty cool. And thanks again, everyone, for stopping by. If anybody has any questions or special requests, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just be knocking out some bad batch sketch cards here. And I'm using Pentel brush pen and Ohuhu alcohol markers. And this is a vellum Bristol sketch card. These are 4x6, and I usually auction them off for $1 after I finish. Just to kind of as a thank you for people for stopping by. Now, one of the things I really dig about Crosshair, of course, is the bullseye crosshair on his face. That is badass. I'm like, wow, if I had actually saw that on somebody in the military, that would have been killer. Can you imagine a modern day sniper with this tattoo? That would just be so cool. Although it may kind of give it away that, oh, hey, people, by the way, I'm a sniper. So I don't know if they would want to do that. I'm surprised they killed off one as well. That seemed kind of different, to say the least, that they just kill off one. Especially one of the ones, people really like. And so but they haven't shown him dead. So I'm wondering, is he dead or, Hollywood dead? Because you never know. You never know. You never know. All right. That's pretty cool. Now let's throw some, actually, I want to let this dry a little bit. So I'm going to pin it up for a few minutes and I'm going to ink the next one. And I think next up will be, I don't know. Let's see here. Who's next? Where's my, let's do Wrecker next. I like that scar. I kind of want to do something with that. I have a special place in my heart for the Star Wars franchise overall. I've talked about it before in different contexts, but I remember the first one coming out, and my mom took me and my cousins to go see it. It was her and her sisters, and so it was me and my cousins, my first cousins, and when it started and that spaceship came across the screen with that giant music, we were just like, oh my God. We were all just like, wow, this is beyond cool. And it phew, it blew us away, to say the least. It just blew us away. And since then, I have seen all of the I saw the first three in the movies. Uh, and I will say that my favorite character is Darth Maul. When he came on the scene, I was like, "Oh, badass!" And I was never a big Skywalker fan, even though Luke is cool. Don't get me wrong. Uh, like a lot of people, I gravitated toward Han Solo first. Um, Darth Vader I mean, you can't beat Darth, right? I mean, it's the man himself, evil incarnate. The style that they use is pretty cool. It is not initially what drew me to the show, and the animation isn't, you know, just crazy. One of my favorites. It's cool, but the style of the characters, I will say, I really dig that. Whoever designed them, the art director there, shout out to him. I think they did a great job on putting it together. The characters are unique in their own way, which is always cool. It's nice seeing each character have their own unique. Because when you think clone, I mean it. A lot of times you can just be like they're all the same, and that is definitely not the case with Bad Batch. And I like them all. I don't know if I have a favorite yet. Of course, I love Hunter and Tech. I shouldn't say I don't have a favorite. My favorites are Hunter and Tech, but not extremely far above the others. Like I love them all. I think they're all really cool, and I think each one can stand on their own too, and that's what's kind of cool about it. And by that I mean each one has its own unique flavor. And there was recently an episode where they weren't even all in it, and I was like still very intrigued at the show. It wasn't like I was like, no, it was still very good. It was still very good. They had split the mission, and so that was kind of cool. And it kind of solidified the fact that it doesn't take all of them to make a show. I'm glad I kind of sketched them out ahead of time so that I'm not just fumbling around trying to figure out what they look like. Because even though I've watched the show now, it's still kind of hard the first time you draw something. Just figuring out the ins and outs And I would say I did some pretty decent sketches of a lot of them, just exploring the different shapes and characteristics about them and making sure I understood what made each one unique and trying to capture that in the sketch. And I always love when they're like, Wrecker, this is gonna require stealth. And he's like, oh, like, stealth sucks. Let's just go in and blow stuff up. That's what we do. I think that's hilarious. Mainly because I know people like that who are just like, we don't need a plan. Let's just go in and blow stuff up. And it's like, no, we do need a plan. Ah, and that's exactly how they act. Like, oh, fine, come up with your plan. As soon as I get a chance, I'm just gonna go blow stuff up. If there's other Star Wars characters anybody's interested in, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going with the Bad Batch here. I've done Darth Vader a lot. There's lots of Darth Vader fans, and so I have sketched Darth Vader many times. I haven't done Luke very much. Everybody likes the hot chick, right? Um, Han Solo is cool, so he gets a lot of requests. Uh, I'm not sure who else. I remember in school I did R2D2 a lot back in the day. I used to get a lot of requests for R2D2. Not so much these days, but definitely back in the day. And I'll also say that even with all the new stuff that's come out, the new movies, uh, the characters are all pretty cool, but the requests I get are always still the old school characters: Darth Vader, Han Solo, Princess Leia. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you can't make movies like that anymore. You can't do the Jabba the Hutt scene anymore, right? I mean, it just people will be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you did that. Oh, that's so sexist," or whatever the word is of the day. Um, and at the time, I think it was just a good movie. It wasn't necessarily a good or bad thing one way or the other. It's just that's the way the movie was. It wasn't taken any special way, I don't think. Um, but yeah, I loved it. I loved it. But when I get requests, it's still the oldies. It's never any of the new characters. Never. Um, I would be surprised if someone came up and requested one of the new characters. I'd be like, really? Oh, okay, cool. All right. That's a good way to start this one. I'm gonna go ahead and slap it up on the board. Before I get to color, I'm gonna do one more. Do one more sketch before I start coloring. Even though this is pretty dry now, I'll give it a few more minutes to dry. And I'm thinking, I really want to do V, but I'm gonna wait on that one. See it is cool. Sid might be fun to do. I don't want to do Omega right now. I like Tech. Tech and Omega. Between Tech and Omega, I want to wait on Hunter too. Let's do See It. The green will give my flesh skin markers a break when I start coloring. And I usually just lighten down the pencil sketch a little bit, take off some of the extra graphite, extra lead, so it doesn't get embedded in the ink and the markers, and then it smears and discoloration and stuff like that. If I do a tight drawing, then I can leave it because it'll just be very fine, tight lines. Otherwise, I usually knock it down a little bit. Sid. I know I've got a reference picture of Sid. All right. I don't know why I have my pencil out. I just sharpened it. But it's good to go. Take a sip right quick. Oh, yeah. I think Sid is hilarious. Definitely, one not to be trusted. And I guess I'm at the part now where they've kind of separated themselves from her. But I can see them. I know that relationship's not over. So it'll be interesting what happens. Although I think Sid gave him up, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that was kind of sucky. Boo, Sid. So I haven't done a sketch card Saturday night in a little while. I have been continuing on fantasy paintings on Thursday nights. But a lot of Saturdays recently, I've been kind of hanging out with friends, getting out and about, getting ready to enjoy some of the summertime activities, probably. So we'll see how that goes. I do want to continue to do the show. As the days get longer, I might push it back a little bit. Instead of 8:30, I might start it later. And but I do like doing it on Saturday nights because I don't have to work tomorrow. And sometimes, the mood will hit me and I'll just keep on sketching, keep on. Whereas on Thursdays, when I do the fantasy painting, that's when I really get into it. But the reason I like doing that on Thursdays is because it makes me behave. Why do I mean by that? So I know I'm going to be done with sketch cards in a certain amount of time. I'm going to draw them, I'm going to ink them, I'm going to color them, I'm going to be done. With the paintings, I could work on a painting forever. I'm sure if you've ever talked to artists or if you are an artist, there's some things that you can work on forever. And for me, painting is one of those things. And by doing it on Thursdays, knowing that I have to get up on Friday, it makes me do a hard stop. Sometimes I get a little carried away, but for the most part, I know there's a hard stop that I have to do. And that's good for Thursdays. Or on sketch cards, they're self regulating. I'm not going to work on a sketch card for days, weeks, hours, months like I do paintings. I've got a painting that I've been working on for a year just because. Now, the reason I'm working on it for a year is my own fault. I didn't do a good under drawing. I went straight to paint. Didn't like the way it came out. And so I've been fiddling around with it. Uh, when in reality, I should either ditch it or take my time and get it the way I want it. In reality, I'm probably just going to keep fiddling around with it. Probably because it is kind of like an experimentation for me too. I use it to try different techniques out on the same painting. I paint in gouache, so it's easy to just, you know, go over it. And in fact, I actually scraped off part. Did I scrape it off or wash it off? I think I washed it off. No, I scraped it off. I scraped off part of a drawing, part of the drawing I did on it before, because I was like, I don't like the way it turned out. So I said, I'm gonna do it again. See, if I was watching TV tonight, I would have 8 Mile on. For some reason, I want to watch that movie tonight. This is coming out pretty cool. Sid's kind of awesome character with her chiclet teeth. I've got to look up and see who the actress that plays Sid. I love seeing the voice actor sometime because it's really surprising. I'm like, what? Who's playing that? I think, and sometimes I'm surprised that some of the actors can do some of the things with their voices. When I find out who it is, I'm like, whoa, I had no idea that's who it was. And then there's other times where you know that they cast a person because of their voice, like on, um, it seems pretty obvious why they cast some of those characters. But I think Leguizamo, the voice he came up with, I think it's pretty cool. And Ray Romano just has it's him. These are actually pretty decent. I'm digging the way they're coming out so far. Now, if I just don't mess up the coloring, these can be some pretty awesome sketch cards to go home with. I think I have 8. I don't know if I'm going to do all 8 tonight, We're doing good on time, so who knows? Maybe we will. Maybe she likes me. Maybe she don't. What song is that? Oh, that was a rap group that I used to really love. Maybe she won't. If these come out really nice, then I might also do some larger 9 by 12 watercolor mixed media um, drawings, full drawings of the Bad Batch. I don't know if they have I don't know if they have the following of some of the other characters, but I like them. And sometimes that's one of the most important things is enjoying what you're working on. There are times where I get a request for something that I have no desire to do whatsoever, and I have to say no. And I feel bad about it. But I'm like, I just, what I don't want to do is promise somebody, something beautiful, and I know I'm not into it, and then they get it, they go, oh, okay. And then it becomes obvious, like, you didn't want to do it. I go, no, I didn't really. Um, and there's Sid. All right. Let's get to some coloring. We're going to switch out Crosshair with Sid. Let's see it dry. And I say dry because I'm using the brush pen. If I was using one of my markers, these dry a lot quicker. One of the liners. Whereas, a brush of ink goes on a little bit thicker, so I like to make sure it's dry. The liners don't smear, but the pen does. All right, so Crosshair. Let's see what we got here. He's got kind of like shaved head and a 5 o'clock shadow beard. And then we want to add some shape and tone to the face. So we're going to start off with, actually, do I have these colors? So I keep sketch card or color swatch cards. But I don't always. For example, I think this one might be dry. Oh, nope, it's got a little bit of life left in it. And I'm going to use this as the basic color. And it's almost dry. I bought some new ones today, though, so I'm not worried about it. I bought new markers just for sketch cards Saturday night because I knew I was doing a lot of people. Like when I did the Transformers, there's not a whole lot of flesh tone there. But when I'm doing a lot of the DC Marvel stuff, I go through the flesh tones pretty quick. So I just bought like 14 different varieties today. There was a great sale at Hobby Lobby, and they were selling their markers, the Master Touch, for $177 a piece. They were normally $6 a piece. So I was like, oh, let me just rack up on some of those. I started to just take the whole shelf. But then I was like, would that be a dickhead move? So I didn't. But part of me was like, the sale ends tomorrow. And I'm going today. So it's not like people haven't had a chance to. And I wasn't there first thing in the morning. So I could have taken them all and had a good, clear conscience. I just didn't. No, this had a lot more life in it than I thought it did. So that gives me a good flat undercoat. His outfit is just basic gray. So I'm actually going to go with a warm gray if I have it, which is actually a little bit more green. No, I won't do that. I won't do that because it won't come out the way I want it to. It'll look weird. So let me go with my cool gray. And I haven't picked a light direction either. But we'll say light's coming this way and this side is going to be on shadow. And then there's my light direction. That's one of the tricks I use for myself is I take a little piece of tape to remind me what direction I've decided on lighting so that I don't get into trouble as I go through the picture. Because it's very easy to get lost once you're into it. Next thing you know, you're making stuff too dark, or you're mixing the lighting, I should say, and then it doesn't look right. Although sometimes you break it for the rule of cool, making something look cool versus right, and that's okay. And after I finish tonight, I will auction all these off for $1. It's just what I like to do. The Ohuhus, this is my favorite marker though. I go through the skin tones so fast. A lot of times I'll use the Master Touch for those. And those come from Hobby Lobby. But my favorite brand, hands down, is the Ohuhu marker. And now that they've made them refillable, it is definitely my favorite marker now. Hands down. No contest. Copics are nice. I do use the Copic multi-liner primarily because it's refillable. You can't beat that. You just can't beat a refillable marker. And I need something between a 5 and a 1. I still have not separated my markers properly. I always say I'm going to do it, and then I don't do it. It would make things go a lot faster. But at least I have started to separate them into sections now, so that at least know what section to look at in my marker case. Again, I want to take a quick moment to thank everybody for stopping by. I really appreciate it. If there's any special requests, let me know. If anybody has any questions or topics they want to talk about, let's do it. I'm going to be here for a little while tonight, just sketching Bad Batch. It's something that I would do anyway. So I figure, hey, why not just jump on and do it? Somebody else might be interested. And I can come back in here and get in those eyes. And he's got a darker lip. Do I have my 3? And I can actually use this same color to he's got those cheekbones, which I really dig. And then he's got that higher chin. And I'll just add some form. I'll use the color to add form. And I'm digging that. And maybe darken up his eyes a little bit so he looks menacing. We all got that friend that always looks pissed off. I'm that friend to my friends. Brad, why are you always looking so pissed off? Because I am. Now leave me alone. And I can use it under his neck for shadow. And then for his hair, I want something a little more. I think I bought what I want today. Let me pull out these. So those are some new colors that I bought today. I have not tried any of them. So let's do a quick swatch on some of these. So I'm going to take the back of this card and just kind of swatch them out a little bit. Just see what we're working with. That is the barley beige, and I think that's what I want, actually. That's a brown gray. I'm not digging that at all. for anything. For nothing tonight, I should say. This is a sand color, which I've used before, which I might use that later on. Cream, that's a nice one. Pale cream. This is actually might be good for lips. Although this marker may not be, I might have bought a dry marker. And then we got our red beige. Burnt sienna. And mahogany. If I want to get in some darks. So those are cool. But I think for his hair, I'm going to go with the barley beige. And just enough to give it a little variation from the rest of his skin. But not look like everything. I think there's good color separation on this, basically, is what I'm saying. That's what it's all about. Just slight tones, variation to give it depth and shape and form. Kind of bring it to life. And then I can put his 5 o'clock shadow in there. Blend that in a little bit. Maybe go a little bit more heavier under the lip. The reason I like the alcohol markers, as well as a lot of artists, is because it does blend. Oh, and his eyebrows. He does have those darker eyebrows, which I think I'll use the mahogany on. And what else? I forgot what color I was using. Where's my barley? Give a little more shape to that. And I think that's it for Crosshair. That came out pretty cool. First Bad Batch sketch ever for me. I can dig it. Like I said, I'm going to use Sid to give my flesh tones a break. I'm going to take another sip here. I got my pineapple coconut Zoa. And I may come back here and do some deeper shadows on that. I don't know. But I like it. I like the way it is. I'm not going to fool with it and potentially mess it up. Whereas Sid, I do want to... She's got those greens. And she's got a mixture of light and dark greens. So this should be fun. This might be a little too dark, but it's kind of where I'm going with it. And I probably should, maybe I don't want it to be that. I think I did the wrong areas green, but that's okay. I think what I wanted. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Ooh, we just had a rocket launch. So I live in Florida near the Space Coast, near Cape Canaveral. And whenever a rocket launches, it shakes the house. And we just had our house shake, which means a rocket just went off. Rockets are extremely powerful. If you ever get an opportunity to come out to the Space Coast and witness a launch, I would highly recommend it. It is a pretty awesome experience to see something actually get shot into space. Uh, for me, the feeling hasn't gotten old yet. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it. Again, I will auction these off for $1 at the end of the night. And tonight, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go till at least 10:30. So if people are hopping around, no problem at all. Just swing back at 10:30 and maybe pick up a sketch card for $1. They will all be fully painted by then. I'm not sure how many I'm gonna have done by then, but they will all be available, whichever ones I finish. And I'm working on the Bad Batch, Star Wars Bad Batch tonight. It's a show that I recently started watching after people, told me that, hey, check it out. I finally went to check it out and definitely have enjoyed it. And I'm caught up now and missing the next looking forward to, I shouldn't say missing, looking forward to the next drop, the next episode drop. I definitely prefer to binge and just get everything at once. I'm one of those people who are like, I just want to watch it all at once. This just adding this green is kind of making it jump out. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Definitely. I am really interested in who voices see it. I need to look that up when I think about it. All right. And then I come with the lighter green for the remainder. And I probably could have went a little bit lighter. Although this should dry. Is this GY? This is GY. Hopefully it dries. Actually, I'm not going to hope. It's not going to dry that much lighter. I'm wondering if I have it labeled wrong on my sketch card, on my color swatch, because that is a different green. This is a grass green, but it's going down a lot darker than I thought it would. But that's okay. I'm going to keep some of that cohesivity of this green, and I'll use it to add some shape volume on this side. I wonder if my color swatch is just wrong. Or did I put the wrong caps? Which, no, I shouldn't have done that, because rarely do I take more than one cap off at a time. That I have good discipline about. That was a mistake I learned not to make a long time ago, is taking the cap off with multiple markers at a time. Bad mojo happens then. And I can even come around the eyes here. It's dark enough to do that. It's drying a little bit lighter, but I still want to go even more light. So hopefully I have number 1 green. Yep, I do. Yeah. Yeah, that's the color I originally wanted. So that works out really well. Get some blending in there. I'm also going to use this on the head spikes, antennae. I don't know what those things are. Again, the character design for Bad Batch is fantastic. Concept art is one of the things I really love doing, especially when you get that initial brief from the creator, whether it's the writer, director, whoever, producer. They're like, okay, here's the words for what the character is or looks like, and then you have to come up with that design. It's like, okay, I heard what you said, now let me see if I can do it. That is pretty cool. And then I'm going to go with the even brighter green to finish it off. As long as I can find it. All right, I'm doing pretty good finding my colors tonight. And I left some areas here to kind of add some shape and form. I like the way that came out. I can dig it. I can dig it. And I'm actually going to come in. I'm going to do this in a brown leatherish color. Just something to kind of frame it. That's a little bit too dark, but I can use it for the shadow. But I want this for the main part of it. Since I'm not detailing out her jacket too much, I'm just going to come in and frame the face with this color. I am going to leave the pearls. They're kind of like a bluish gray. So I'm going to do those last. And I'm actually going to, I forgot to do a color in that. So I got to figure out what I want to do. I wanted to blend this out to a black. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do the whole thing in a black. I don't know. And the spaces I'm leaving there are to kind of show the shadow of the pearls, which I'm going to do in a little darker brown. I think this is darker. Yeah, it's darker. I just want to kind of give an indication of shadow. Not being super precise with it. Just something to kind of make it kind of cool. And yeah, I'll just go black. I wasn't sure if I was going to go all black at first, but I will. And actually, I take that back. Yeah, I will. That's fine. Wasn't the initial plan, but I like it. I'll leave some spots of color in there, and it'll look cool. Show deep under the neck. All right, and we want a nice dirty gray for the pearls. That would actually that might be cool if I used a red gray. That might actually really be cool. Let's see if I can find a red gray. Let's see what this would look like. Adds a little more contrast, I think. And then I'll finish it off with a plain old neutral gray. Oh, that's a dark. Oh, well, it's fine. That's fine. I'll use the dark on this side, and I'll brighten it up on the other side. But I gotta go neutral or it's gonna look funky. Actually, no, I'll take that back. I'll go with the warm, and that'll really kind of make it set off. There we go. I don't know if you can see the color variation in there from the camera, but it looks pretty cool. So there's Sid. All right. We're doing pretty good. All right, and let's do Rekka. Rekka's going to be a little bit different, I think. Let's see. Because I really want the focal point to be over here. Of course, I'm going to keep the lighting from this direction. And I'll put the lighting from this direction so all the cards kind of match. But he's a little bit darker than my man Crosshair there. But what did the cream look like? I can't remember. Was this the cream? I like the cream for his skin tone. And the beige will work for some of the shadow. And in the highlight, I'm going to use the pink. As I highlight his big bald head. And we'll throw some of that on the nose. And we'll bring it down along here. That'll be my areas of highlight. main color, I'm going to use the cream. I like the way it's starting to take shape already. I like the way that's coming out. Might have to blend a little bit more right there. Actually, I need to get I think my pink markers kind of dried up a little bit. And I have another one. But it's not juicy enough to get the right blending. But I like the highlight right down the middle and on the edge. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to use the same mahogany for the eyebrows. I'm going to use an ice blue for the eyeball. He's got that dead eye over on this side. And actually, I need a warm gray for the rest of the eye. So I can make the eyes kind of stand out. Okay. And a nice pink for the lips or for his tongue. I see his tongue poking out back there. I'm just gonna go and see how this looks. Leave the teeth like that. And then the lips. Where's my red? What does this look? How dark is this? Oh, that's too dark. Maybe? I might be able to use it. No. I might be able to use it. This should be a different color than the rest. And that'll highlight his scar. Okay, I'm digging that. And I can use that for the lips. Okay, that's cool. I've got to do the ear as well as the neck. All right, that's cool. All right, now I can have some fun with it. I need another pink. That's what I needed. That one's dry. Do I have another pink? I thought I bought another pink. I did. It's a little bit different. So hopefully it's a little bit more juicy to blend in. Okay. And now I want to take the red and kind of play with the scar a little bit. Kind of frame it up. And I can use it for some shadow underneath there. Start building up some form. I'm digging this way this one's turning out as well. They say don't get high off your own supply, but I'm getting high off my own supply on this one. I like the way that's coming out. I hope you all can dig it as well. And actually, I'm going to use this to kind of frame the eye. Like I said, I want this to be the focal point. So I can bring that around like that. That's cool. I like it. I like it. I think that came out really nice. And he's got a little bit different. I'm going to go black in there. And he's got a dirty metal and some red. And that red is, do I have a red close to that? Something that'll be a little rustic. Or do I just go deep red? Kind of make it pop. Just quick down and dirty like that. Keep it rough. And then I want a couple of different shades of gray. I'm gonna have to go to a different swatch card here, color swatch card, and I want a 30. And this is one of those times where I'm looking for something specific, and it's not gonna jump right out at me. I know there's the 50, but I don't want the 50. There's the 30, and I want a and a 3. I'll go with that. So I'm going to use the brush tip. This is going to be blacked out. So I'm using the broad tip to maybe get some texture, depending on how it dries. And then I'm going to use the other broad tip to just kind of dirty it up a little bit. Like that. And then I'm going to finish it off by framing him. And I'm not going to try to do the neck and the frame and all that. I'm just going to frame it all with a nice jet black ink. Which I think will look nice. And actually, I'm going to save this brush because this brush has a nice tip on it. Oh, no, this is my bad brush. This is the bad brush. I got a brush with a bad tip on it where I can't do fine lines. That's this one. So when I get to some of these spaces where I just want to fill it all in, this is a good brush for that. Because when this refill runs out on this one, I'm going to throw this one away. I'm going to use it to do dry brush effect once it gets low. And then once it's finally out for good, then it'll go in the trash because the tip is messed up. But I will say that it's probably been years. These pens last for years. And I literally mean years. I've been drawing with these Pentel brush pens for at least 5-6 years. And all I do is just change the refill. This one is actually still pretty full. But the brush tip is nylon. It keeps its shape. This one just kind of lost its point eventually. And so it's time for it to go bye-bye. And I'm going to thicken up here just a little bit. Again, framing that eye and drawing attention to it. And there's Rekka. All right, that's 3. And I think we have time to knock out one more. Where is my tape? We'll post this puppy up. Let's see. Make sure you can still see it. There's Sid. There's Crosshair. Wrecker will take up the middle slot. I'll bring Wrecker back in the picture, or Crosshair back in the picture, back in the frame. Those three are done. I think we have time for one more before we start the auction. Let's go with, let's see. We're going to go with Echo, which is weird. I don't know. Do I go to Echo or Tech? I want to take some time with the goggles. So we got time for one more before we start the auction. So we'll do Echo, and then we'll auction them all off. All auctions start at $1. And I think we have time to finish Echo. We've got about 20 minutes. Yeah, I think we can do it. I think he's got that Echo. What is it different about him? Yep, he's got that buzz cut too. So we don't want to do that one. But he's a lot more square, and he's a reg. Do I want to try to paint this one? No, we don't have time for that. I was going to try to paint it, but I know I don't have time for that. So let's go ahead and get this party started right. I shouldn't say I don't have time. It's Saturday. I do have time. I could have painted it. It's too late now. I definitely had time to do this one fully painted, though. Next week I'll do, next week I'll do all of them fully painted. So people can see what those look like as well. And basically it's the coloring without the line work. It takes a little bit longer because you don't have your guidelines. So you have to be careful not to mess that up while you're working. And when I do it, I do it a little bit more systematically. Whereas when I'm inking, I kind of just jump around. When I'm doing the fully painted, I don't jump around as much because I follow my system to keep track of colors, shapes, and forms so that it doesn't mess up. Because with the lines here, it actually gives me a built-in break between colors. So a lot of times I can be kind of harsh with the coloring because I know there's a hard break. And I like using this pen because it gives me that opportunity to vary lines. The hair I'll do separately just because he's got that buzz cut. Actually, is Hunter the only one with hair? I just not noticed that. Hunter might be the only one with hair. I love Echo's big baby eyes. I've mentioned it before, but earlier, but the concept art team, the design team, I think they did a phenomenal job. I mean, these characters are so unique. You never get one confused with the other. And each one has their own uniqueness about them, which I just think is the hallmark of good design. When each character can just stand on their own, have their own identity, and you know who's what. Again, I want to thank everybody for stopping by. All of these will be auctioned at about 10:30. So I'm just trying to finish up one more before the auction starts. Auctions begin at $1. If this was a convention, these sketch cards would probably go for $20. So it's a good deal. But to show my appreciation for people tuning in, I want to make it worth their while. Show my gratitude and appreciation. And for anybody who's hanging out on a Saturday night watching people draw, I think that deserves a thank you in the form of some appreciation for the price point. And I'm probably going to say that I'm going to do some 9x12 full mixed media drawings of the Bad Batch. Just doing these tonight has really I'm like, yeah, I dig it. I'm digging them. I am digging them. Oh, it's been fun. It's just been a lot of fun. So much fun. So I'm gonna hold it up. I've got 13 minutes to get this one colored, and then we can get this auction started. I'm gonna have to be a little bit more careful on the coloring so that I don't smear the ink while it dries. So I'm going to start with some areas away from the face. And let that face dry up a little bit more. The ink does dry relatively fast, but sometimes the alcohol marker can activate it and smear it. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend time trying to make a nice drawing and then smear it all to be damned. And that's one of the hardest things, if I'm honest, doing them live at a comic convention, is because the opportunity to smear is much more relevant trying to do something for someone that they want to walk away with in 15, 20 minutes. And I'll try to go a little bit lighter. That was a 7. I'll go with a 4. Do I have a 4? I don't have a 4. My 4 is dried up, gone, thrown away. So I'll have to go a little bit lighter. I still got my 30 out. And he's got on armor as well as so I do need a 4. I need something, a mid-grade something. For this part right here. Give it a little more separation there. How are we doing on time? 9 minutes. Might be a little bit late starting the auction, but I do want to finish this one before we start the auctions. And one more shade ought to do it. I don't know what this is going to look like, but let's see. Yeah, that's cool. There we go. All right. Now we got time to work on the face. Let's see. He's a lot more pale than the other ones. Oh shoot, just a second. Dropping stuff on the floor. Ugh. Oh, and I'm bumping the camera. Get that back in frame. There we go. Can we finish this in 7 minutes? Maybe. Maybe. I like the color. He's also got that buzz cut. So we're going to go a little bit darker up top. This is a fresh marker, so it should get us through. We get the shapes, the big blocks of color in, and then we'll come back and add some form. Does he have green eyes? I think he does. Is that what Sid calls him, green eyes? No, she calls, no, V calls Crosshair. No, she calls Tech green eyes, right? I think that's the way it goes. As soon as I finish this one, we'll do some auctions, unless somebody wants. We'll do the auction, and then if anybody wants to see one of the other characters, you know, I'll keep going. Otherwise, we'll shut it down for the night. All right, so that's cool. I do think he has green eyes as well. Or something like that. Something close to it. If they're not green, they're damn close. So I'm going to go with the lemon green. Give it a yellow green. I'm wasting half my time looking for the right colors. There we go. 3 minutes. I will not finish this in 3 minutes, but I will finish it and start the auction. So there's our eyes. We're going to use the same for the eyebrows. They're clones, so that's why I'm kind of like keeping the eyebrows consistent, giving them some piece of consistency. And then I'm gonna go with the cream for his lips and for his buzz cut. And to kind of highlight his headgear, I'm going to go with a warm for the eyes, warm gray, just to kill that white. And then I'm going to do a sand, I think, for some tone and texture. Add some volume to it. Some shape, some shadow. Frame his eyes. That's one thing I noticed about him, is he's got like almost a frame around his eyes. And I can actually go a little bit darker, I think. Up under there. I think I can go a little bit darker. And we did make it at 10:30. We finished it. We did it. We made it. We made it. All right. First set of Bad Batch sketches complete. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to auction these off one at a time. Maybe some people return and jump back on. And we're going to start at the top. We started with Crosshair, so we're going to auction off Crosshair first. Let me get these other ones out of the picture so people know what they're working on. So Crosshair will be the first. And let me go ahead and start that up. Add. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that either. There we go. Auction. And this is I'm just gonna call this Comic Art Star Wars Bad Batch. Give me just a second while I get these loaded. And hopefully, yep, there we go. I'm gonna start at $1. Super light shipping. There we go. All right. We'll do these. We'll just do a minute each. All right. First one up is Crosshair. So if people jump on, this is the first one up for auction. We have 4 that we're going to do. The 4 one that we did tonight. First up is Crosshair. I want to take a minute to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. We got 4 done, and I think there's 4 to go. So next week we will do Hunter, Omega, Tech, and V. And it'll be a good time. All right, next up will be I think we did See It next. So we'll start that one up. These were a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to do some full size mixed media work art pieces on this. And for those mixed media, what I usually do is I'll start it off with a watercolor background, and then I'll use alcohol marker and gouache. I might do pen and ink for some highlighted areas, but they come out really nice. And they'll be on 9x12 Bristol vellum board. And so they come out really nice. And I really enjoy putting those together as well. Again, thanks for everybody for stopping by. Check me out at Brad Scott Art on Instagram. Next up, we have Wrecker. Instagram at Brad Scott Art. On Twitter X, Brad Scott Art. BradScottArt.com for my full portfolio, and Brad Scott Studios for me and my team for the stuff that we do together. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, I wasn't familiar with the Bad Batch, but after I watched it, I was like, this is a really cool show. And now I'm caught up to all the seasons, and it looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to see, where they're taking it next. Definitely looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it. I hope they continue it. I hope they continue to come up with good, cool stories to keep it going. Nothing's worse than when they run out of stories, but they just try to keep it going, for the fans. But then it loses its oomph. I don't know if they have a full story arc that they want to tell, or they're just taking it story by story. And this is the last one for tonight. We are going to auction off Echo. Um, they came out really nice. All these sketch cards came out really nice, and they were a lot of fun to do. I I'm not gonna say I enjoy it as much as Arcane show, but I'm definitely gonna say character wise, they killed it, and these characters are fun. Their stories are fun. They're fun to draw. They're fun to paint. Um, their personalities are fun. It makes it such a cool show. I really dig it. I really, really dig it. So uh, I highly recommend watching The Bad Batch for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. It is worth the time, and because they have it, because the season is still going, because the series is still going. By the time you catch up on a binge, the next one will be available for you, and it'll be a lot of fun to do. All right, so that's it for tonight. I'm going to set these up to get the thumbnail shot. So there's our thumbnail shot for tonight. A lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out. This was so much fun to do. I'm definitely looking forward to next week, where we do Hunter, Omega, V, and Tech. So stay tuned next week. We'll get some more Bad Batch from the Star Wars, and you all take it easy. Peace out. Brad Scott Art out.